Please welcome Erik Velleman. Is he online?
Am I understandable there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Right. Okay, so I'm Erik Velleman. I'm a professor of inclusive digital design and engineering in the Netherlands. I work at the Han University, and I'm a founder of the Accessibility Foundation there, and I work a lot on innovation. But at the university, I'm really happy to work there in relation to the Accessibility Act, the European Accessibility Act, because we get many questions from companies about the details of implementation and interpretation of the Accessibility Act. So it sounds, if you read it for the first time, your conclusion must be, oh, that looks rather easy and straightforward. But then if you are a company and you start implementing, then the thing is you get a lot of details where there's no answer in the existing standards. And I'm happy to work at a university like the Han because we have many students from different studies to help and test all the answers that we would like to have. So we get questions from companies, and I have like 6,000 students here, and I try to get as many as I can to help find answers that are probably the answers that are meant in the Accessibility Act. So going to the Netherlands, as I said, there is the devil is in the detail. So there is a lot to do and a lot to research, and there are a lot of questions because it is not always clear if the solution that we find in the Netherlands will also be the solution that will be okay in like Estonia or in Sweden or in Germany. So it's all depending on how much do these market surveillance authorities talk to each other, or how do companies talk to each other? How do they exchange this information? So while Accessibility Act is there to sort of limit fragmentation and to get a more harmonized solution in this area, I think there is still a lot of work to be done. So it would be nice to see that the market surveillance authorities have more contact with each other in Europe. So in the Netherlands, we implemented the European Accessibility Act into one law, one single law, but it is a law that changes 7 existing laws. So in fact, we have it in 7 existing laws. And the law is called the implementation law, and the existing laws are all not really changed. It is small sentences referring to the Accessibility Act. So things like the Civil Code, the Commodities Act, the Equal Treatment Act, acts like that, Consumer Protection Act, acts like that are all being changed from this implementation law in the Netherlands. So the organization organizing all this is the Ministry of Health, Welfare and Sport, because they also do the UN Convention implementation in the Netherlands. And what they do is they don't do it, but they supervise and coordinate. So all the ministries in the Netherlands are responsible for the laws that fall under those specific ministries. So that is why the existing laws are being changed. So this implementation law was only agreed by the Dutch Parliament this year. And I think that full implementation should have been done in September. So that is 1.5 months ago. I'm not quite sure if they managed, but I think they did. So the way that this implementation is monitored is by different market surveillance authorities in the Netherlands. So we don't have one law and one market surveillance authority. We have 7 laws, and every law has its own market surveillance authority. There's only one market surveillance authority for products. All the others are for the services. And they are all preparing, as far as I see now, all preparing and reading into the subject of the Accessibility Act to be able to start market surveillance in June next year. For the built environment, we did not take the optional protocol or the optional part in the Netherlands because we already have a building requirement that dates back to 2012. The problem with the building requirement we have is that it is not really a law. So people use it, but it's not, it's not like an actual law where you have to use it. So it would have been nicer, I think, to take these optional building requirements from the Accessibility Act, but in the Netherlands, at least, that has not been done. For multinational companies, of course, this is interesting to have a look at. So maybe in the Netherlands, it is not required, but maybe in some neighboring countries, it will be required. So let's see. So for help, so what do we do to help companies in the Netherlands to implement and to understand the Accessibility Act and all the laws and the market surveillance that we have around that? There are a few main organizations working on that. One is the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Kingdom Relations in the Netherlands, because they already worked on the Web Accessibility Directive. So that is the earlier law that requires accessibility for public sector body websites and applications, mobile applications. So it is much more limited because, as you know, Accessibility Act also applies to the user interface, the help desks, the contact pages, the user manuals, etc., everything around your product and service. But because the Ministry of Internal Affairs already had a lot of work done on the Web Accessibility Directive, they sort of have a dashboard where you can have a look at the actual accessibility of, well, in this case, websites and mobile applications of public sector bodies in the Netherlands. And there is discussion now if they want to add private sector there. I know it's still a discussion because nobody, as far as I have known, has agreed to do that yet. There are a few strategic programs in the Netherlands, like we have Digi Toegankelijk, which is from the ministry, where you find a lot of information about accessibility of public sector body websites and applications. We have MKB Toegankelijk, which is accessibility for the small and medium enterprise. And they have they made a specific website where you can sort of test your own website, and it has webinars that you can view and review, and lots of information about how to comply with the Accessibility Act. We have a user-based organization called Gebruiker Centraal, and that is an organization that specifically looks at how can you include users with disabilities and without disabilities in the design process. And we have the Dutch NL design system, which is where you can get modules for your website, and the NL design system is made accessible from the start. So that is, for the Netherlands, more or less one law, but sneakily it is 7 laws, and a lot of market surveillance authorities, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here on my list. So and a lot of support from government organizations and from separate expertise organizations. But also a lot of questions and a lot of missing answers.
Thank you very much, Erik Velleman. We appreciate that you could participate online and to get some inspiration. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. My pleasure.